Yo guys, what's up and welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be randomizing all three UEFA club competitions. So that's the Champions League, Europa League and Conference League. I'm not sure how this one's going to go, but I really hope we get to see some underdog stories or just honestly a ridiculous draw. Before we jump into the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It means a lot, and that means you're never going to miss out on any future content on the channel. I've got a really big rebuild that I'm working on, and I'm sure you guys won't want to miss that one. Without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Alright, so here we are. As you can see, there's the 4 Champions League pots. The teams right now in there are very strong, but once we randomize these pots, they're not going to be so strong. So let's do that now. Press the randomize. And honestly, this isn't as weak as I thought. We still have Arsenal, Bayern, Real, Napoli, Barca. Some strong teams in there still, so I thought it would be worse. Right, so onto the Europa League. As you can see, we've got teams like Spurs, Roma, United, Lyon, Sociedad, but not for much longer when we randomize these. Oh, so this is interesting. We've got Dortmund, City, PSG in the Europa League, so I'm expecting the semi-final stage to basically be like a Champions League semi-final stage, especially with the quality of some of those teams there. And finally, it's time for the Conference League. Really, the only strong team here is Chelsea, maybe Fiorentina, so let's see how that changes once we randomize. And it's still sort of what I thought. We have Bologna, Nottingham Forest, Heidenheim still, so still some decent teams. Let's see how this all plays out by the end of the season. Right, so here we are, it's the end of the league phase, and Real Madrid have won the league phase, followed by Newcastle and Barcelona closely behind. As we look further down the table, we've got teams like Inter, Arsenal, Napoli still going through, but via the playoffs. We've got Monaco just in there as well. West Ham getting knocked out, which is quite surprising. I thought they'd be able to make it over some of these weaker sides, but they couldn't do it. As for the playoffs, we've got some interesting games like Como vs Lens, Monaco, Napoli, Udinese, Arsenal, and we have Bayern vs Deportivo Alaves. So looking at the Europa League table, Galatasaray come out on top, Girona finishing runner-up, Dortmund, so just the usual suspects, but PSG and Man City finishing lower than expected. I thought they would have gone on top of the league. Palace finished 20th, and so far, no real surprises here. All the teams you'd expect made it through to the playoffs. Taking a look at some of the Europa League fixtures we got Dinamo Kiev vs Wolfsburg, we've got Hajduk Split Parma, 20 vs Ross County, we've got Palace vs Genoa, Young Boys vs Olympiacos, Las Palmas vs Bruges, which then leads us onto the Europa League. As you can see, Heidenheim top the league phase, followed by Sturm Graz and Panathinaikos. Bologna finished in 7th, so they secure that automatic round of 16 spot. And looking further down the table, it all looks pretty normal for Conference League standards, as unfortunately I don't really know too much about these clubs. So looking at the playoff games in the Conference League, we've got some interesting games between some of the stronger sides in this competition, like Sion vs Austria Wien. And on the second page here, we've got some games that look like they could go either way, so I'm really excited to see how this simulation goes. So looking at the playoffs now, we've already got our first big upset of the Champions League with Inter going out to a Dutch side there, Napoli going out to Monaco, Arsenal comfortably do the business, and we have another upset with Bayern losing to Alaves already. Crazy stuff in the Champions League here. So with that, we're going to move on to the round of 16. Real Madrid are through, Freiburg are through, Barcelona are through, Newcastle are through, everything normal so far. Monaco are through, Brest are through, Athens are through, and Stuttgart are through. Which leads us on to the quarterfinals. Freiburg beat Stuttgart in an all-German showdown, Barcelona comfortably through, Newcastle through, and onto the semis we have Newcastle knocking out Barca and Real knocking out Freiburg to win the Champions League in a 2-0 win against Newcastle United. Looking at the Europa League, Wolfsburg knock out Dinamo Kiev, Parma scraped through against Split, Avis Football Sad knock out NAC Breda, and Ross County fall short to 20. Furthermore, we've got Genoa knocking out Palace, Olympiacos defeating Young Boys, Club Bruges beating Las Palmas, and Victoria Pleasant knocking out Gornik. Moving on to the round of 16, Man City comfortably through, Slavia Praha through, Nice through, PSG through, Dortmund through, Club Bruges through, Wolfsburg through, and Galatasaray through. And onto the quarters, Man City comfortably beat Galatasaray, Slavia Praha through, Dortmund through, and PSG smash Wolfsburg, which takes us onto the semis where Man City defeat PSG in a clash of the favourites and Dortmund knock out Slavia Praha, which means that the Champions League final is won by Man City in a 1-0 win against Dortmund. Switching our attention to the Conference League, the playoffs were won by Cercle Bruges in a 3-2 win, Austria Wien against Sion, Hibernian lost, surprisingly, and Hammarby knockout Katowice. Looking at the other half of the playoffs, we got AGF winning, Luzern winning, and then we have a penalty shootout win for Viking FK and Tromsø IL winning 3-2 on aggregate. Moving to the round of 16, Panathinaikos win on penalties, Estoril knock out Austria Wien, Heidenheim through against AGF, and Nottingham through against Luzern. And in the other half of the games, we got Sturm Graz knocking out Tromsø, Zagreb knocking out Cercle Bruges, Leuven knocking out Kalmar, and Bologna taking down Viking FK. Now looking at the quarters, Panathinaikos are through to the semis, Estoril win on penalties, Heidenheim win, and Nottingham win, which means that the semi-finals are between Estoril and Heidenheim, which is won by Estoril again on penalties, and Nottingham knocking out Panathinaikos 2-0 on aggregate for Nottingham to lift the Conference League trophy in a 3-2 win against Estoril. So guys, that leads us to the end of today's video. If you guys did enjoy this one, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you didn't already at the start. I've got a big rebuild plan, like I said before. You guys are not going to want to miss that one, so make sure you do all that good stuff. Make sure you turn on that notification bell so you never ever miss another video again. And on that note, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.